Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're going to be looking at equations with variables on both sides. Okay, we've done our two-step and multi-step equations. All right, but today we're going to look at equations on both sides. But before we get started, we're going to look at a process to help us do this. Okay, kind of some steps to remember. So the very first thing that we need to do is we need to look for parentheses. Okay, parentheses. And we're going to have a little saying with this to kind of help you all out when it's all said and done. Okay, kind of like the order of operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Okay. Our next step is to distribute. That's like distributive property. Okay. The next thing we want to look for is to combine like terms, if there's any. Now, the reason I'm doing this in different colors, so when we do our examples, whatever step that I use, I'll try to use it in that color so you all can kind of put that together. Okay. The next, and this is important, we're going to move. So we're going to move the variable. Okay. So we're going to move the variable. A lot of times we forget that. And our next step is to either add or subtract. And the very last step that we'll do is either multiply or divide. Okay. And if I look at the first letters in each section there, okay, we're going to create our little saying from that. All right. So our saying is, please don't call me after midnight. So please don't call me after midnight. Please don't call me after midnight. And that's our little saying. So let's go ahead and let's look at our first example here. Example 1. We're going to have 4 times the quantity of z plus 3 minus 4 equals 8 times 1/2 z plus 1. So that's going to be our first example. Okay. Now, again, if you're one of those people, try to get a line here. Help yourself separate. Okay. Show yourself you have two sides. So when we look at this, some of you guys may not know where to start. Some of you may start at different parts. Okay. But if we follow everything we're doing here, the first thing we look at is parentheses. Do I have parentheses? Yes. Can I simplify inside those parentheses? Z plus 3? Nope, those aren't like terms. 1/2 z plus 1? Those aren't like terms. So I can't do parentheses. Look at the next part. Distribute. Can I distribute? Yes. I have a number outside of my parentheses. So we have 4 times z, which is 4z, and 4 times 3, which is 12. Say positive 12. Positive 4 and positive 3, positive 12. What's left? Bring down my minus 4. We'll just drop that. Okay. And then 8 times 1/2 z. 8 times 1/2, what's half of 8? Which is 4z. And then 8 times positive 1 is positive 8. I'll bring another equal sign. So we completed our first step there. Okay. The next thing it tells us to do is we're going to combine like terms. So look for like terms on this side. Z, is there any z's on this side? Nope. Now 12 minus 4, those are constants. So what is 12 minus 4? 12 minus 4 will give us 8. All right, and bring down whatever's left. So I have 4z plus 8 equals Are there any like terms on this side? Nope. Now, if we look carefully right here, you should notice something. Okay? What happens? 4z plus 8 equals 4z plus 8. Both sides are exactly the same. Okay? This is an identity. All right? That tells us something. What does that tell me? It tells me if this side equals this side. No matter what I put in for z here and put in for z, both sides will equal each other. This tells me that this actually has infinite solutions. So realistically, I wouldn't have to go any further. But also realistically, some of you guys would get kind of confused and you wouldn't really see that. You would just be in the zone and keep working. So that's what we're going to keep doing for this example. Okay. My next step I'm looking for, we're going to move the variable. Okay. Now when we move this variable, we can either move it from this side to this side, or I can move it from this side to this side. I always like to keep the variable positive. Okay, it's helpful. Some people always want to have the variable to the left. It's whatever you prefer. All right. So if I'm moving something from one side to the other, I have to do the opposite. So what's the opposite of positive 4z? Say negative 4z. Those cancel. What we do to one side, we do to the other. All right. So what we have left here, that's going to give me 0. There's going to cancel. I drop my 8 equals, drop my 8. Okay. Again, some of you might see that 8 equals 8. All right. That's great if you do, and if you don't, that's fine too. Okay. So if I want to move this 8 over here, the opposite of positive 8 is minus 8. I want you to one side, you do to the other. And those will both equal 0. And does 0 equal 0? It does. Therefore, I have infinite solutions for that particular example. Now, that probably wasn't a good example to start with, but it just happened to play out that way. Okay? All right, so let's look at another example. All right, let's see here. Example 2. We have 4 times the quantity of 2x minus 1 equals 2x plus 8. We'll draw a little line here to help us keep these separated. All right, so let's look at our steps. Parentheses. I have parentheses right here. Can I simplify anything inside of there? No, it's not looking like it. 2x and negative 1 are not like terms. So let's go to our next step, which is to distribute. What is 4 times 2x? That's going to give us 8x. 4 times negative 1, that's a negative 1, is negative 4. Equals, we just drop these down because there aren't any parentheses to distribute from. All right. Next step, we're going to combine like terms. So let's look for like terms. Any like terms on this side? Nope. This side? Nope. So that step's gone. We're going to move our variable now. Again, this is up to you. You can either just go move this 8x here, or we can move the 2x here. I like to keep it positive, and I also like my x to be on the left. That's just my personal preference. So the opposite of positive 2x is minus 2x. And when those cancel, I want you to one side, you do to the other. So 8x minus 2x, that's going to give me 6x. And we bring everything else down. So bring down my minus 4 equals, those are canceled. The only thing that's left over here is 8. Now, what we need to notice is, what type of equation do we have? That's right, we have a two-step equation, okay? So, in a two-step equation, the first thing we get rid of is our addition and subtraction. So the opposite of minus 4 is plus 4. Those will cancel. What you do to one side, you do to the other. So I add, bring down my 6x, because that's all that's left over here. And 8 plus 4 is 12. And my very, very last step here, we're going to do our multiplication division. Opposite of 6 times x, a number and a variable side by side is multiply. We need to divide. So what you do to one side, you do to the other. All we're left with over here is x equals 12 divided by 6 is 2. That'll be our final answer. Now, a way to check your work, if you take this 2, we can substitute it back in up here. Okay, so make a little note. Check your work. By using substitution. Okay, so we would just take this and plug it back in for our x's up here and solve and make sure both sides were equal to each other to tell us that yes, that is my final answer. Okay. All right, let's look at another example. Just want to get a few of these in here to help you guys out. All right, so let's say we have negative 3m plus 2 equals 6m minus 7. And if you have to, draw a little line there. Help separate those sides. Okay, so do we have parentheses? No, I don't see any. That means we can't distribute. If there's no parentheses, we automatically cannot distribute. Are there any like terms on either side? No, because it says an m and this doesn't. Same thing here. So we're automatically going straight to our fourth step, which is we're going to move the variable. Okay, now I like my variable to be on the left. However, if I move this over here, it's going to make that negative. Okay, so we're going to switch it up and move the variable from this side to this side. So we have to do the opposite. What's the opposite of minus 3m? Plus 3m. And what we do to one side, we do to the other. Okay, so that's going to leave us with positive 2 on this side equals 6 plus 3m is 9m. And then bring down my, let's draw my arrow there, minus 7. Okay, so my next step, just like my equation, this is a two-step equation. We're going to add or subtract. I'm going to leave the variable. The opposite of minus 7 is plus 7. Those will cancel. What you do to one side, you do to the other. So 2 plus 7 is going to give me 9 equals, bring down what's left, 9m. And my last step, multiply or divide. The opposite of multiplication, this is 9 times m, is division. So divide by 9, what you do to one side, you do to the other. And that is going to give me a final answer. What's left is m. And 9 divided by 9 is 1. M equals 1. Okay, for that example. So hopefully that helps. If you guys have any questions, make sure you email me. I hope you guys have a great day. And let's do one more example. Example 4. All right. So what we're going to have here is 2m minus 6 equals 2m plus 8. Draw our little line here. Okay, so parentheses, nope. Without parentheses, you can't distribute. Can we combine like terms? Nope. There's no like terms on this side, no like terms on this side. So let's get down to business and let's move that variable. All right, so I'm going to move it to this side because I can keep it positive. All right, so the opposite of positive 2m is negative 2m. And what I do to one side, I do to the other. All right, so when I do that, 2m minus 2m, that's going to give me 0. So let's bring down my minus 6. Those cancel. Bring down my 8. I'm without a variable. Does negative 6 equal 8? Nope. So that should automatically tell us something. But before we do that, we'll go ahead and get everything on the same side. Now I want to keep it positive. So I add 6. We shoot on one side. You do to the other. Those cancel. Give me 0. 8 plus 6 is 14. Can 0 equal 14? It cannot. So that means this is an identity. This means we have no solution for this example. There's no answer to this example. Okay. There's a couple ways to see this. If I look at the original problem, 2m minus 6 equals 2m plus 8. They both have a 2m, but their second term is different. That tells me that this has no solution, okay? You could also look here. Negative 6 cannot equal 8. Those are two different numbers, okay? So, no solution. We also had an infinite solution earlier, all right? So, a couple different identities. Identity. All right, so again, if you guys have any questions, make sure you shoot me an email, and I hope you all have a great day.